3 weeks. 3 fucking weeks I've waited to get my reward. I swear to God, Merchant, if you don't give it to me now, I'm going to smack someone.
Heads up, floof ball. I warned you not to fail a challenge.
Fuck.
Game! Hello, it's me, Spooky Shadow Handman, and today we have a double feature. Not only are we opening a tin of Lost Memories 2020 edition, but we're also opening a tin of 2020 Lost Memories. I really need some help. Right, here we go again, guys. But for this week, we are luxurious enough that we've saved up $15 from the previous episodes of opening these, which means we get to spend our entire full budget on 2. We get to open 2. Isn't that exciting, boys and girls? How many Dragoons do you think we're gonna pull? Leave a comment down below, because I think that number is 0. 0 pulls. Let's go. Open the tin. I still love these like tins in general. They're really pretty. I wish Yu-Gi-Oh did more tins, because honestly, like, Pokemon has been doing tins for a really long time, and all of them are really nice looking. I love the design of this one. The 2019 one was kind of crap, but I don't know. They're just kind of nice to look at. 6 megapacks. 6 megapacks. If we don't get anything from 6 bloody megapacks, I don't know what to say. We want a Dragoon. We got Borreload Savage and Romulus last time, which is not bad at all, but for us, it's less than appropriate. Foxer, Trickstar Fusion, Subterra Succession, Guardragon Cataclysm, Valkyrie Chariot, Tenyi Spirit Mapora, an Abyssalacia, which I actually own one already. Really nice card. Witchcrafter Madame Vuri. Super Anti-Kaiju War Machine Mecha Thunder King. Fucking excuse me? Let me read that again. Super Anti-Kaiju War Machine Mecha Thunder King. Who the hell designed that name? Gladiator... Oh, you are an asshole! This is the only other ultra rare fusion. Fuck, dude. Witchcrafter Haney. Okay, we got another Witchcrafter as our secret. I'm okay with this. That's fine. Crystal Heart, Return of the Normal, and then Fury of Fire and a bunch of commons we don't care about. Now we've been tricked. I've been befuddled, and I'm very upset about it. I do not want another one of this, please. Please and thank you. Dino Wrestler Coes la la la. Oh, it's the lady from my favorite archetype that's never gonna make a return. Neo Flamwell Lady. If only you came in 2014. You're in danger! World Challenge Guardragon Armaduke. Salamangreat Resurgence. Glass Souffle. Our first, I believe, super rare. I need to pling-a-ling it, yeah. Whitefish Salvage. Number XX Utopic Dark Infinity. Another Shmieta. Oh, that's a good one! Mech Knight Crusadia Avramax. 2 monsters special summoned from the extra deck. While this is link summons on the field, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. Also, their monsters cannot target monsters for attack except this one. This one's really good, actually. I have no hatred against him. Draco Monsters of the Tenyi. Kitty! Fuck off. That's my PlayStation controller. I don't want you messing with it. Don't be rude. Draco Monsters of the Tenyi is our secret rare. Gorgon, Empress of the Evil Eyed. And then bunch of shit. Yeah, Crusadia Avramax is kind of cool. The issue is you have to use things from the extra deck, right? So it's not necessarily great. The thing with it is, like, we don't have that many extra deck things we want to sacrifice to get him, and he's a Link 4. And since we don't Link climb that well, debating whether or not I can include him, actually. I think I could. Hyper Psychic Riser, Black Ray Funft, Guard Dragon Reincarnation, Trickstar Fusion, Send the Mangrate Fennec, Dark Factory of Mass Production, Evil Eye Retribution as our first super, another Abysslacia. Oh, sick! We got an Appaloosa! That's awesome! So Appaloosa can be made with, if you could focus, Mr. Cardboard, thank you. 2+ monsters with different names except tokens. You can only control one Appaloosa at a time, and the original attack of this becomes 800 times the monsters you used. And then you get one monster negate per 800 attack. This card is a really good Link 4. I think I'm throwing this in immediately. And our other one is Witch's Strike, which is just bad. A second Romulus as our secret. That's depressing. And then a bunch of crap. So we got 2 of the rank 4 links now. I think I'd rather play Appaloosa over Crusadia Avramax, because with Cross Sheep we can actually go into Appaloosa fairly easily. We'll see. I think we could go into this as well, actually. Huh, we'll find out. Next pack. Anculio, Sunlight Wolfu, Slitter Dolphin, Dinosaurs Gigaspinosalante again, Tyrant Dino Fusion, Adhara, Time Thief Winder, cool. Dances with Beasts, Infinitrank Fortress Megaclops, another Super Anti-Kaiju Mega Weapon. Oh my fucking god, dude, why? Again? Why are you here again? You're the wrong boss monster, dude. Why am I a person who can say I own 2 Borrelord Savage Dragons? Why? I don't want him. I want the other one. Good lord. Let's just go by Dragon Links, guys. Screw this. Shaddoll is cancelled. Dragon Link is in. Oh, look, see? Rocket Synchron, they won us already. Heat of the Fire Charmer, ablaze. World Chalice, Guard Dragon. Dino Wrestler, Rambar, Guard Dragon Cataclysm. Teacher Glass Souffle. Astroghouls. Unchained Solar Disaster. Fuck you! I went through puberty twice. Oh my god. Holy shit. I'm so done. I got fucking debated. And then he's here. Ah! Oh my god. We have the boy. Quality, please. He's here. Red Eyes, Dark Dragoon. Our Deck Daddy. I don't know where that other card went up. Hold on. I flung it half across the room. There we go. Oh my god, he's here. Finally. Finally! You have a very special place on your own face. Dominance is our secret rare. I do not care. Crusadia Testament and a bunch of other crap. It is irrelevant. We have Dragoon. And we also have a bunch of other boss monsters we can mess around with. Last pack. Let's open this last one as well, just for good luck, right? We've already gotten all of the money cards, including Dragoon, so I don't think it matters here. Let's just skip all the commons. Firewall Sea Dragon, FA Shiny Strategy. That's it. Okay. So I wasn't expecting that. I have two faces now. Was that Magicless Fusion as a secret rare? It is. Cool. Huh. Yeah, I'm sorry. I've lost my words. I did not expect that. I mean, these are kind of irrelevant for us, but they're cool secrets. These three, including the one that we pulled in the last episode, which I still have around here somewhere. There we go, there he is. They could be cool inclusions. These two, Borreload Savage specifically, they're harder for us to pull off because we don't have that many Link monsters we'd want to sacrifice into a Borreload combo, and we don't really have a way of getting a Borreload on the same turn because all of the cards that, like, the only tuner we have is Falco, and Falco can only return himself face down, so we need a lot of resources to get him, so he's not necessarily good. But these two are actually really good boss monsters we could go into. Appaloosa for negations, because we can quite easily fill the board with a bunch of dudes. And Crusadia Avramax if we just need the sustain of him. These two are definite contenders. But then fucking somehow, we pulled two. I was hoping, like, I didn't even expect to pull one. I now have two daddies.
Right, third time's the charm, I guess. Hey Merchant, do you actually have a reward for me?
Yes, I heard you the first time. I'm surprised you even survived the tour guide onslaught. Just give me a moment and I'll get it for you.
Merchant? What the hell is that noise?
It's a ritual spell. Here, take your reward.
Wait, why the hell is that card all spectrally and glowy?
It's a phantom card. It can only be used for a single episode, then it vanishes. For some extra start chips, I could create a few of these for you. But you should probably go see the tour guide before she decides to further ruin my basement.
You make a very compelling case. I'll keep that in mind, though. Thanks for now, I suppose.
You kept me waiting, Floofball. It's a shame you didn't complete the challenge last week, but don't fret. You'll have 2 more chances before it's a failure. So try to complete it soon, okay? Wouldn't want an accident.
I definitely see your point there.
Righty. New week, new challenges. Pick your poison.
Well, let's go for something that's in theory very easy. Let's accept the all-or-nothing challenge?
You got it, Chief. Now keep in mind, you got 2 challenges at the same time. Best of luck.
Considering how it went last week, that's gratefully accepted. Now, we got 5 more duels to get to, guys, so sit tight. So, for today's first duel, we are up against Dark Magicians. It feels like we're up against these guys every other week now, but, you know, the matchup is always interesting depending on what our opponent does. Our opponent normal summons their Magician's Rod, which we immediately hit with an Effect Veiler, which ends their turn almost instantaneously. But since we don't really have any card that's live in our hand, we just decide to set Aerial, attempt to activate our Shaddoll Fusion, which gets hit with the fattest Ash Blossom of all time. Our opponent then activates Ice Dragon's Prison in order to summon our Effect Veiler, going straight into Predapant Verti Anaconda, and unfortunately we are face to face with our deck daddy, Dragoon. We attempt to hit the Anaconda using our Ghost Ogre. However, it is negated by frickin' Solemn Strike of all things. Our opponent manages to get their Anaconda on board, pops our face down Aerial, which we attempt to use in order to send all the Dark Magicians to the banish, but it is negated by Dragoon, meaning he now has no cards in hand. Perfect. We do take a hefty chunk of damage, unfortunately, as he passes the turn to us. We draw the perfect answer. Super Poly. Since we have the Phantom card this week of Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, we are able to use both his cards to go into it, since it only requires 2 Darks, and beat in for game by Monster Reborning his own Dragoon. That felt incredible, let me just point that out. For game number 2, our starting hand is much of the same, and this time having Gameciel that we sided in. Honestly, Gameciel in this matchup against Dragoon is incredible. Our opponent sets 2 back row, uses Magician's Soul's effect to dump a Dark Magician to special summon it, and then normal summons Ash Blossom to do the same thing again, going into Predaplant Anaconda and going into Dragoon. Now, with Dragoon on the board, that is going to be problematic for us. I lie, we have Gameciel. We immediately kill it going into Gameciel, and for some reason our opponent decides to Solemn Strike us. Not incredibly sure why, because that just means he loses a monster. We activate Shaddoll Fusion to start off our traditional combo that we're going to start using now. However, our opponent activates Crackdown, stealing our construct, which kind of kills our momentum a little bit. We do still get our effect, so we set Aerial, we send Reshaddoll Incarnation, and we get Trick Clown back on the field. We decide to go into Magical Meltdown in order to draw into an Alistair, using Alistair's effect, of course, to draw into Invocation, knowing that our opponent cannot stop us. We then link Alistair and Trick Clown off into our Cross Sheep, using Invocation to go into Purgatrio. Cross Sheep's effect activates, going to let us resummon Trick Clown. We then activate Incarnation to flip Aerial face up in order to summon Wendy to the field. At this point, we simply link off into Anaconda, but instead of being smart, we just go into Crusadia Avramax, because you know what? I hate fun. We use Purgatrio to beat over our opponent's Anaconda, using Crusadia Avramax's effect to finish 2 challenges in one go. No Winda, 1 OTK. Awesome! For match number 2, we're going up against the ever-looming Dinos. Our opponent goes into Oviraptor that we attempt to hit with an Ash Blossom, which ends up not mattering whatsoever because our opponent has the Misk in hand, summoning their Animadorned Archaeosaur to start off their combo, and we are already sitting in a decently bad place. Our opponent, of course, uses Oviraptor's effect to pop the Baby Ceratosaurus, getting a second baby on the board, as well as using the Adorned Archaeosaur to go into Linkaribo, go into Secure Gardna, activating a Fossil Dig and then the Double Evolution Pill in order to go into the big Stompy Boy. He then passes turn on 4 monsters, and we know exactly what to do. We decide to activate Shaddoll Fusion, going into Construct, attempting to start our normal combo. Shockingly to me, he does not activate the effect of his big Dino Boy here, and actually allows our combo to go through. We then set ourselves 1 additional card, going into Verte Anaconda in order to attempt to use Super Poly to gain more advantage. A bit greedy, but there was a point in this. However, he hits us with a Misk, so we are forced to take a Secure Gardna instead. We dump an El Shaddoll Fusion and go into his big Dino Boy, which for some reason he chooses not to protect by flipping my cards face down. I'm not entirely sure why, but after that we simply pass turn and hope for the best. Our opponent then activates Misk again, allowing him to get a Petite Auradon onto the field. He activates his Ovisaurus effect, which we strike with a Ghost Ogre, hoping that it'll stop his combo. Unfortunately, he still does manage to get decently far going into a Unicorn. Unicorn flips our Construct back, but then he sort of realizes that we have enough value on the board with a Shaddoll Fusion in hand, so he simply scoops. Game number 2, our starting hand this time around is god-awful by comparison. Our opponent immediately activates Lost World, going into his Oviraptor as expected, drawing a Misk to his hand. He then summons a token to our side of the field and activates Misk from hand. Then, using Misk's effect in the graveyard to special summon an Archaeosaur, whatever the hell that thing is. Archosaur, yeah. Yeah, I never remember that guy's name. Essentially letting him draw double Evo Pill, going into the same combo as last game. Misk comes out again, and this time around, he actually overlays into Evolsar Dolka, which is kind of bad for us, because that is a lot of negations we have to go through. He then activates Double Evolution Pill, getting his Ultimate Conductor Tyranno once again, and then special summoning Giant Rex because it was banished. He passes turn to us with only a token on our field, and that's about it. We go into Magical Meltdown in order to draw Alistair. Alistair attempting to activate its effect, which I know is going to get negated, so I immediately chain my El Shaddoll Fusion in order to go into Winda. He negates the Squamatus effect, which means I am now free to go completely ham. I overlay... Oh, sorry, I don't overlay. I link into Cross Sheep and then special summon Pancratops from my hand because he controls more monsters than I do. When he attempts to activate Lost World, I immediately tribute our Pancratops in order to destroy his UCT. This gives us a token on the field, and we are able to activate Shaddoll Fusion, and then he just scoops. For match number 3 today, it is actually another Dino player, so we're playing back-to-back Dino matches. Our opponent attempts to activate Pot of Extravagance, which immediately gets hit with the fattest Ash Blossom of all time, allowing us to hard cast Shaddoll Fusion, unfortunately, to go into a Winda. Effects chain off, and we get a Beast onto the board, as well as a Wendy, to our hand. We then go into battle phase and simply beat in for a chunk of damage, hoping that our opponent needs to special summon in order to get anywhere. Our opponent draws a card, normal summons Baby Cerosaurus, which is when I realize, oh, we kind of win here. He activates a permanence and then scoops. Game number 2, on the other hand, we are not as lucky as the first one. Our hand this time around is nearly unplayable and we are forced to go first. We simply set our dragon and set a Super Poly, as well as the Twin Twister, and pray that he plays a light monster. He activates Terraforming immediately, getting his Lost World from the deck, and then activating his Fossil Dig to search for Oviraptor. Oviraptor, of course, gets summoned. You know the combo by now. He gets Baby to hand, activates Lost World, uses Misk's effect. Misk gets Archosaur. You've seen this Dino combo a lot. As he activates Lost World, we actually chain Twin Twinnies in order to make sure he can't get any advantage off of it. Baby enters the field from the deck. It is immediately popped for another Baby in the graveyard. Baby's effect summons Giant Rex from the deck, and our opponent is now in a very, very good spot. He does the same thing going to Linkery, but this time going into Phoenix, and we have nothing to pop our Super Poly on. He goes into UCT, and at this point we are looking very, very bad. We are looking so bad, in fact, that he decides to overlay into Dolka again, meaning we are kinda screwed. He attacks into our dragon. We activate Dragon's effect, attempting to bounce his UCT to hand, which he for some reason allows to go through. Phoenix attacks us for 1900, which is not too bad, but we need a miracle to get out of this as UCT once again enters the field. We need a Shaddoll Fusion, or we lose. That's an Ash Blossom. We lose. Game number 3. Let's see if we can actually take 2 straight wins against Dinos, because that would probably make Heart of the Bards very happy. Our opponent starts off with a Fossil Dig now that we have the option to go second, and immediately goes into Lost World, gets their Oviraptor, and oh boy, here we go again. A token is summoned to our side of the field, and he draws Misk to his hand. He then activates Misk's effect and does the same combo we've now seen 4 times from Dino players. Can you see that there's a very straight line of how you play this deck? He manages to get his entire combo going once again, but this time I think we have enough to stop it. He, for some reason, lets the token live when he knows we can use it for Link fodder, which is strange to me. But his combo keeps going, he gets a Secure Garden on board, he is able to activate his double Evil Pill to get his UCT, and he passes his turn. But of course not before Dolka, because Dolka needs to exist. Right, we do draw into a Super Poly, which is very, very good. So we set our Falco, immediately go for Super Poly, using his UCT to go into Construct. At this point, a lot of things happen at once, so we actually get a chain 7 going. But essentially what ends up happening here is he pops everything and attempts to get our Construct to stay in the graveyard by negating both of its effect. Unfortunately, that is what happens, but this does allow us to go into full combo thanks to Monster Reborn, and we are able to pop off at this point. Our opponent has no negate on the board, he only has Secure Gardener, Lost World is inactive currently. This should be a win for us. I decided to just go all out and go for the OTK as good as I can here, but the second my board gets filled up, we are met with Big Rock Gober. Our entire field is now wiped, we are out of resources, and I am punching myself for letting this go through. At the end of the day, we do manage to get a Shaddoll Fusion back in order to come back on a later turn, as well as popping Lost World, hoping that he doesn't have a response. Our token is also massive. Unfortunately, he top decks into a Misk, allowing his combo to go off. He gets another UCT to his hand. He can just special summon the UCT with the amount of dinosaurs he has in the graveyard. And at this point, it is game over, because that is enough damage to punch through my remaining life points, and my Turtle Engrave is negated by Dolka. I was so mad over this game, because I had it in the bag if I didn't just overextend, but of course, me being me, I overextended, and I'll take the defeat with some pride. Match number 4, we're going up against what I can only assume to be some sort of Tri-Brigade deck, because I didn't really see another archetype in there. Opponent goes into the Tri-Brigade combo of using Fracal in order to get Nerval, which, you know, special summons into, what is it, Farid, I think is the Link monster's name. Then for some reason he has Coach Soldier Wolfborg, which I've never seen. He goes into Masquerena, meaning on my turn he's going to get a Link 4, and I need to figure out which one. So I decide to just straight up go into Magical Meltdown, and he erases Crusadia Avramax. Kind of good for us, actually, because that means he doesn't really have a negate. We go for a Shaddoll Fusion combo and popping off as we usually do. I'm so glad that we can now do this combo, and starting next week, it'll have Dragoon as well. It's crazy. All of the effects activate. Dragon pops his back row, turning out to be Storming Mirror Force, and thank God I hit that. We link into Cross Sheep, activating Invocation to get Mechaba onto the board, and then getting ourselves another summon from Cross Sheep. Activating Invocation's effect to get our Alistair back. Going into Predapipe Verte Anaconda. Activating the effect to do Super Poly in order to get his Crusadia Evermax off the board. Having 2 constructs onto the board, he has nothing. This is way more than enough damage, and he just scoops them up. Game number 2, our starting hand is fairly bad, as our opponent plays Fire Fortress atop Lang Peak, meaning he has Fire Fists in there too. I'm very confused. He sets Tenki, which we immediately decide to hit with an Ash Blossom, knowing that he needs it, and when we do, he scoops. Marvelous! For the last match of today, we are going up against Prank Kids. Prank Kids is one of those decks that when you see them, it's usually someone who knows how to play the deck very, very well. And I don't know how to go up against it at all. Our opponent does the regular Prank Kids combo, activating Prank Kids place and eventually going into do-do-doodle-doo, or cock-a-doodle-doo, I think, whatever, the chicken. This gets him Pandemonium, which is the scariest card in his entire deck. We activate our Shaddoll Fusion, and he immediately flips Pandemonium, going into Kid Battle Butler. This thing is terrifying. It can sacrifice itself in order to basically blow up all of our monsters. Also, we just had a million chains go off at the same time because all the Prank Kids effect on top of all the Shaddoll effects. Essentially, what ends up happening is all of the Prank Kids are going to special summon themselves. He gains a bit of life points, I take a bit of damage, he blows up my entire field, and then all my Shaddoll effects happen. So I do get Shaddoll Beast. I do manage to pop his Prank Kids place, but I don't get a draw from Apkalum because he gets hit with an Ash Blossom. We'll then normal summon our Alistair, and we are basically forced here to go into Purgatrium. We want to deal as much damage as physically possible, so I just go, okay, we're popping the effect. He attempts to blow us up again, but he is negated by Apkalum, thankfully. So we are able to just beat in for a massive chunk of damage. On the opponent's turn, he does activate Pranks, which is going to shuffle some cards back in and allows him to draw a card, but he simply passes the turn to us. Thankfully, in this case, we have Beast on the board already, which is essentially lethal. Its effect gets negated by Ash. We don't care. We just beat in and go for the killing blow. We do manage to take Game 1, and thank God for that, because that could have gone a lot worse. Game number 2, on the other hand... yeah, you can have a look at that hand yourself if you wish, because you tell me what you want me to do with it. That is one of the hardest bricks I think I've ever seen. Our opponent uses a normal polymerization to go into Rocket Ride, which allows him to special summon more Prank Kids from his deck, eventually overlaying into a totally awesome. He then goes off and does the Meow Meow combo, Flame Seas, hitting us for 500 points of damage, special summoning Dropsies. Going into Do-Do-Do-Do-Do, allowing him to get Pandemonium, 1,000 life points from Dropsies hitting the graveyard, and then special summoning Fancies. He activates the effect in order to get all the cards back, and now his Pandemonium is live. With this hand, there's not a lot of things I think I could have done. I do decide to activate Instant Fusion to get us a Raijin onto the board when he activates Pandemonium. Pandemonium gets Battle Butler onto the board, and Raijin hits, and we need Raijin to stop Toad from activating, essentially, because if Toad negates our Shaddoll fusion, we have no chance. I sat on my turn for quite a while here debating whether or not it was worth fusing into something that would send Alistair to the graveyard. But then I realized that if I do that, I will have no chance to actually shut down the Battle Butler, and not shutting it down will spell our doom. We decided to go into Construct eventually, trying to get as much value onto the board as possible before he inevitably blows it up. Dragon pops a back row, which turns out to be there can be only one, which is kind of scary. But, of course, he does use Battle Butler's effect, blows everything up. We're able to go into an Apkalone to shut it down, but it attributes itself to blow us up again. At this point, we have literally have a handful of multiple good cards and no use for them. We set a Wendy, we set our Shaddoll fusion, and we pray tell that our opponent doesn't have a response. Toad gets flipped back up again, meaning he now has a negate online. He goes back into Doodle-Doo, hoping to draw Pandemonium and his entire combo once again, as he gets Roxy's onto the board, now having 2 of them. Oh, guess what? He now has all of them. Purgatruo at this point would have been delicious. Meow Meow comes out. And so does Lampsies. He then goes into a bloody Borosaur Dragon, of all things. And before attacking with Toad, for some reason, he decides to activate the effect early, so Borosaur gets 2 attacks -1. We attempt to use our Turtle here to actually swing for game next turn, but his last card in hand is a Skullmeister, meaning we're just screwed. He steals our Wendy using Toad's effect when negating it. We take a hefty chunk of 3,000 damage. If he had actually summoned things in attack mode here, he would have won the game. Our hand is not great, so we go into Shaddoll Fusion hoping that we can get the combo going. If we can pop off here, we still have a chance. We're forced to toss a Beast this time around in order to attempt to draw an additional card. Destroying his last back row, which turns out to be a second, there can only be one. We go into Penapad Verde Anaconda here for one reason and one reason only. Super Poly. We need to Super Poly it off in order to go into Starving Venom once again, our Phantom card for this episode. And it is the only thing we can use to attack, unfortunately. Now, our back row is El Shaddoll Fusion, and I'm thinking to myself, I need to stop him from getting a combo. So I preemptively fire off El Shaddoll Fusion to get a Winda on board. And in my head, I'm thinking, as long as I can stop him from mass summoning again, I know the last card in his hand is a Dropsies. He can't have Pandemonium, and if I stop him, he's not going to be able to summon it. He puts everything in attack mode, for some unknown reason, links off into Doodle-Doo for his last play, drawing into Prankid's Place, activating it, drawing into Lampsies, tributing his Doodle-Doo in order to add cards to his hand again, but he still doesn't have the Pandemonium. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe there's still a chance. I beat over my own Winda sending it to the graveyard and then decide to set the Hedgehog that we top decked, hoping to God I can keep this up for 5 more turns. Because if I can do that, we win. And not a lot happens in the next couple of turns, actually. He sets a couple of cards, and we are able to keep repeatedly beating over and over again, getting rid of whatever it is he happens to have. Shocking surprise, he is forced to set one of his prank kids, because if he doesn't, he would have died. We do get a Magical Meltdown in order to draw us into an Alistair, hoping to God that he does not have Pandemonium, because if he manages to summon anything else that's big, we can boost by 1,000. We then draw into a Ghost Ogre on our next turn, and now I'm thinking, okay, we got this in the bag now. No matter what he tries to activate, we can pop it off and just keep beating him for damage over and over and over again until he dies. And then Terraforming. And then Mystic Mine. And then 11 turns pass, and I scoop because I don't have an out in the deck. For game number 3, he starts off incredibly strong once again, managing to almost get his entire combo just straight out the bat. But then we are like, no, Ash Blossom, you're getting nothing. We activate El Shaddoll Fusion, going into our Apkalone. A lot of chains happen again, basically saying, hey, we don't get to have a turn. We Foolish Burial for Trick Clown, which gets Skullmeistered of all things. So we can't go into any additional plays, unfortunately. We just have to beat over his cat and hope that his 2 cards in hand aren't anything good. It ends up being a Dropsies, which is not bad, but he goes back into Meow Meow again. Dropsies giving him another 1,000 life points going into Fancies. And at this point, he is able to do his actual combo as we have no interruption to stop him. He goes into Pandemonium, he gets dropsies onto the board again, he sacks off Doodle-Doo in order to draw the remaining 2, sets his Pandemonium, which we can just guess is a Pandemonium, sets 1 mystery card, passes the turn. And we know what's gonna happen. Immediately flipped up comes Pandemonium, and here's Battle Butler once again. All of the Prank Kit effects go off at once. And I'm sitting thinking to myself, is there a way out of this? If I had drawn into Alistair, maybe. I normal summon a Hedgehog, which is going to seem strange to you, but I'm going into Anaconda, which immediately gets struck off the board, and I scoop for our last game being a loss this week. Now, in perfect honesty, 3-2 is not that bad for the week, all things considered, because this week we were actually up against some pretty tough decks. On the other hand, though, we do manage to earn ourselves a grand total of 7 starships this week, which is absolute madness, because that means we now have a stockpile of them that we can actually use for something. But more importantly, we have a Dragoon waiting for us. Anyone that's played Yu-Gi-Oh! In the last couple of years will know what our next opening is going to be, but I assure you, we got a lot of other things to do, yeah? On the other hand, though, I will admit this with full honesty, this episode took a very long time to edit, and I hate to be the guy asking this, but if you enjoyed this episode specifically, smash the like button. If I know that people want to see more things like this where I just mess around with, you know, things that aren't necessarily related to the actual card game, but more so fun to watch, then I want to know. Also, if you want to see more content like this, remember to click the subscribe button to check up on the things I do. We are approaching 1,000, and when we do, it's gonna be big. Regardless, though, I'd like to thank you for watching this episode in particular, and as always, stay safe out there.